Watch me ride.
Army hearties, I have joined you for the Q and A. Actually, no, I'm alright. This is the bad eye. I don't know if you can see. I haven't really looked at it. Yeah, it doesn't look too bad at all. A little bit red still. It's doing well. A lot of people were expecting me to be like a pirate in this, but unfortunately, no. She actually did a really good job, and it didn't really hurt too much after that. And I've been putting the ointment in it, and it's been good. Anyway, time to do the Q and A answers. A couple of things I'm going to point out. One, yes, I know I haven't shaved. It's just because I'm lazy and razors are expensive. And the same for my hair. Haircuts are expensive. I don't know why my personal appearance is always such a big part of this, but you know, whatever. So let's get on with answering your questions. Now, if you didn't see the video about the Q&A, because normally the Q&As get about 300 to 400 comments, and this one got 72 comments, which means that most people didn't, because it was like a normal video with just Q&A at the end, no one reads the titles, so a few people got to ask a question. Oh well, it makes my life easy. So let's just get on with the questions. Also notice that things have changed a bit in here. I've had to change the setup, which means I have to change where the camera sits. And anyway, if you wonder why there's a green screen back here that's not being green screened, it's because it doesn't work. It's shit and cheap, turns out. Right, so let's start with Hypergecko. What is the weirdest thing you've seen while riding? That's really difficult to say. Like, what's the weirdest thing? You know, you see really weird things on them. I mean, I saw a submarine exactly the same as the yellow one out of GTA 5 on the back of a truck in a motorway service station. That's pretty weird. Then again, you could say, well, about weird people, we'll just drive through Portsmouth, North End, and just, you'll find something weird. Like that guy, do you remember that video? He's like trying to sell a painting to those women. He's like, hey, you want to buy my painting? Yeah. Anyway, the Garden Shed Vlogs, Q&A, what is your favourite bike you've ridden that you do not or have not owned and why? Oh, R9T, because it's a beautiful looking bike and because it's really pleasant to ride. And the GSX S750, because it was just such a good riding bike and so usable. So I know that's two, but kind of somewhere between those two. Flowtech PK, what is your favourite type of video to make? Green laning, etc. Shout out to @JonathanCross_PK for Instagram. There you go. You got a shout. Yeah, but you're probably right actually. The green lanings are the most fun. I mean, normal vlogs are fun, but you have to be the entertainment unless there's a lot of stuff going on. I really enjoy doing the dual vlogs as well, with whoever it's with. They're just fun because you don't really think the banter and stuff just happens. Like when me and Ginger used to make videos together, you just wrote themselves just because of the way we were together. So, but yeah, on my own, green laning's fun because it's, you know, the content is doing the thing, and it gives you a proper beginning, middle, and end narrative to a video, which I like. Evor, that clock is fucking dope, man. Thank you. So there's a mixture of comments in this. That wasn't a question. Q&A, how much weight have you lost and have you had to deal with loose skin? I've lost about 12 stone in total. And yeah, a little bit here and there, but you lose that much weight, that's what you have to deal with. It's just, you know, I'm never going to have the Adonis body that everyone would like to have, but I'm now not going to die at 35. So, plus sides. Okay, here's a question from Half Dead Rider, somebody comments on my videos very often. Hello, mate. How do you do test rides work? How do the companies cover themselves in the case you crash or damage the bike? I'm thinking of doing some myself on the channel, as I have a full licence. I need to buy a bike for a but basically, the way that the test rides work are quite simple. When you go to do a test ride, you sign a piece of paper that says that you're insured under their insurance of the bike. But if you damage it, you have to pay an excess. Now the excess for like BMW is £750. So if you write the bike off, the worst that you're going to pay out is £750. If you drop it and break a couple of levers or something, it's like a £200 fix. They'll just say, we'll get the parts as cheap as we can, and then they'll do it. A lot of companies, if it was a small drop and it was a little bit of damage, they'd just be like, it's alright, we'll deal with it, because it's expected with a test bike, it happens. Although I have seen someone drop a new BMW and had to pay out quite a bit of money to get that fixed, but it is what it is. But that isn't the case with everyone. Haslemere, if I was to write one of those bikes off, it would cost me £2 grand. And yeah, that is really scary, and it means that when you ride the bike, when you start reviewing bikes, you are constantly worried about really using them because you don't want to put yourself in that risk. And then as my sort of confidence with understanding of overconfidence grew, I came to realise that I can pretty much ride any bike to a reasonable level. You know, people very often say, oh, in the reviews, like, oh, you're not riding the living shit out of it. And it's like, well, one, that would be very illegal to show. People make some comparisons between me and Lamb Chop. Lamb Chop, he's a bit of a nutter. He does show some stuff that I would definitely not show. That's not to say that it doesn't happen with me, it's just something I wouldn't show. But also there is that always thing in your head which is keep yourself well within your limits, because if you drop this thing it's going to cost you £2 grand. And this video is going to make me about £5 at most. So yeah, can you see why it's not worth doing that? But I do use them more than what's seen in the reviews. But that's kind of how it works. Big Al Ref 1, sorry if I didn't pronounce that right. I have suffered with depression since 2010. The only time I feel like my old self is when I'm out on a bike. Is it the same with you? Does it help? Yes. Oh god, I think I've made videos called like two-wheel therapy and stuff like that. I think because you have to put so much concentration into the thing, the riding of the motorcycle, and also because of the adrenaline and the endorphins and all the stuff that it dumps into your bloodstream, it can give you temporary relief from depression because you're so preoccupied. Years ago, you know, as I say, I used to ride my bike to help keep myself happy, and I still do that. But you don't have to ride a bike to be able to do that. Just do something. Have a hobby, make things, draw, anything that you really enjoy and you can really engross yourself into. Something that when you start, something doesn't exist, and when you finish, something exists. You've made a change in the world, and it shows you things change, because this pile of pieces of metal have now turned into this bird, for instance. And in doing that, you understand the process that things change, and it just makes you feel better. That's all I can really say about that one. Steve, just says Steve, Q&A, what type of helmets are best? Motorcycle style, question mark, open face, etc. Full face, whatever you wish. Doesn't matter if you go for an on the road, you'd probably want to have more of a classic helmet, or even, you know, something with it could have a peak, like a cross between the two, like the Icon variant. Motocross helmets on the road themselves with goggles, rain and stuff gets around them, but some people use them. They also tend to be a lot lighter, but they're also a lot noisier. But personally, I'd say, you know, just any standard road helmet, and open face helmets are not suitable for anyone. Full stop. Sorry if things shifted slightly, I had to change memory card. Right, this one's a bit difficult for a dyslexic to pronounce. I'm just going to call you L. Simmons. That's a weird spelling of my first name, or I don't understand it. Spice 110, are you going to the Brighton Burn Up this year? We were planning to go, but the weather's shite, so we're not going to. Because, you know, riding 50-60 miles down the coast in the pissing rain, to then stand in the pissing rain, to then ride back in the pissing rain, just, no. Long-haired lass, Q&A, hi Spicy, as your photography is an extremely high standard, particularly your macro nature shots, thank you very much. By the way, if you go to my Instagram, you can find my second Instagram, which is Spice110 Photography, and it's got all my photography stuff that's not bike related. Not a lot of people have gone to look at it, but, you know, they're basically saying they think my photography is good enough that I can enter the competitions, and the competitions have a low entry but a good prize fund, and would I consider doing that, and would I make videos on about it, etc, etc. No, I wouldn't enter the competitions for several reasons. Very often the terms and conditions of these things, it means they then own your picture afterwards, and, well, yeah, okay, one image for $500 would be worth it, but very often in these competitions, if you enter, they own your picture. And then it's very easy for someone to, you know, oh, we'll give a $500 prize out, but what we're going to do is we then get this massive stock of photographs that officially are ours, and we can sell them through stock photography things, and you as the owner, through entering through this thing, can no longer use them. So you need to be really careful with competitions. And basically, I've never really considered my photography to be like so far, like to the competition winning levels. And I did enter competitions in the past, you know, just general photography competitions, like local ones and stuff, and I'd take a really, you know, really good close-up picture of an insect or something, and it might get mentioned, like, you know, oh yeah, this is a great image, but then the winning picture would be a point-and-shoot shot of a kid at the beach playing, because they rather the subject matter just being, oh look, it's a kid having fun on the beach, than, oh look, this is a technically good photograph. So, no, not really. And when I make videos about it, I've done videos on photography, I've done loads of video on photography, There isn't really much I can teach, because photography is very much something you have to learn yourself and find your own style, etc. Right, Theo TKS, Q&A, spicy. If you could travel back in time to a certain motorcycling era, which would it be and why? That's a good question. When would I go back? I'd love to go back to when they were doing the land speed records on the salt flats, you know, when they were really, like, people were just building their own bikes and taking them out there and really being able to compete with each other, opposed to, you know, big companies doing it and stuff like that. I mean, I know that still happens now, but it was just very cool back then, seeing what people would do. And also the point that people basically, when they saw a motorcycle, it could be a road bike or an off-road bike, you just rode it, it was whatever you, wherever you rode it made it what it was. Whereas now, you know, you need, I mean, you know, if you're on the road, you have to have a certain bike with all these electronics and all this stuff, and if you're off-road, then you need this, and you need to put it in off-road mode and put the ABS off and do this, you know, like the KTM. And it just, I think that video highlighted how much the electronics are a pain in the arse and aren't needed. You're better off with a bike that you just control. Yeah, sure enough, 1200cc off-road bike, that's going to be a handful compared to like a DRZ, but, you know. So yeah, back in those days, pretty cool. Greg Tucker, Q&A, when's the next Sausage Fest? As I mentioned recently, if you don't know when the Sausage Fest is, I don't know when the Sausage Fest is, nor do I know where it is or anything like that. If I know, I make so much of a fuss about it. I get it out there everywhere, it's being shared around, it's being posted every couple of weeks on my social media, it's everywhere. So if you don't know what's going on at the Sausage Fest, you can almost guarantee, and you've checked my social media in the past couple of like weeks, just scroll through it a little bit. So Instagram's a good one for that because you can see the posters for it. Yeah, then there's nothing going on. It'll probably be next year, and I'm hoping to do it at Rikers Calf, I'm thinking. But we'll see. There you go. Okay, I normally get this guy's name wrong. I always say like Manifesto 2 Wheels, and I don't think it's like Minifesto. Mifesto? I'm sorry, dude. How do you get into the How do you get into editing mode, considering that part is the boring bit of vlogging normally? I love editing, I really do, but for me, nighttime. Or if I need to get it done. If I know I need to get it done, then I can get right into it and I just, you know, I can chill out. If I've got a few videos to edit and then I can't sleep, and Reno's gone to sleep, I'll have a couple of rums, sit here, edit away till like 4 o'clock in the morning, and then go to sleep. It's a good way of relaxing, it calms me down, because my problem in the middle of the night is my brain's like da-da-da-da-da-da-da, and if I edit, it kind of, you know, you're concentrating on one thing, and then eventually you're like, oh, I feel pretty tired, and you just go save, slide off into bed, and you're alright. So I enjoy the editing. Right, okay, David Batchy. I feel like I've said your name before. I hope I'm not too late. What headset do you use, mate? My mate has the Senior 20S, and I have a cheap £40 one. What budget one would you recommend? Just to be clear, both headsets connect to the intercom. Right, basically I used to use the BT intercom, not BT, the BAE, there's also sold by loads of different names, the little round, like lozenge shaped one that was like 20 quid each or 40 quid each or something. They're okay, but they're so quiet that you really can't hear each other. I use a Sena 10C, and Reno uses the 10S. I honestly believe that if you want an intercom and a headset and etc, go for the cheapest Sena you can get. Like the 10S isn't too expensive these days. They've brought out so many since, but they are so much louder, the battery life is so much longer, and the intercom function is so clear and perfect. It's so much better. They are if you're going to use it a lot, and you're going to use it on motorways and stuff, just get a Sena headset. They are the best, without question. Stephen Billett? What riding gear would you recommend to a beginner rider? Reasonable helmet. You don't have to spend more than about £100. You know, an AGV is a good place to go because they do good helmets. They're about 100 quid for an entry one. Reasonable gloves. Leather or textile jacket, but just don't go cheap on it. Like when I say don't go cheap, don't go eBay cheap. Like, you know, like 30 quid. Just put a little bit of money into it. This is protecting yourself. Minimum level of leg protection would be Kevlar jeans. Rock jeans are a good example. They're very cheap compared to the other ones, and they're just as good in the crashes. And some reasonable riding boots. So basically, you can use whatever you want. Just make sure that it's got the protection level there. And don't skimp on the helmet, because I've crashed in a £30 helmet, and the chin guard just moved over like this, and yeah. And then I've crashed in a £100 AGV into the side of a car, smashed the front of the helmet, well, the outside, but the shell stayed intact, and it was good. It, you know, it saved my life. My cat is snoring. Will you stop snoring? Told you it was snoring. Gummy Bear, hello. Very long time viewer of mine. Can you give me your opinion on how World War III will work, technically involve? When will it happen? How will it play out? I don't know if there's going to be like a World War III. I kind of feel like World War II ended and then World War III started straight away, and it's just been a slow burn. Maybe not. Yeah, but basically, you know, all the stuff with ISIS and Syria and all of these places, I've never really seen that as a big risk. You know, because they don't have the technology. And obviously there is someone at the moment who is showing they have the technology, and he's cruising for a bruising. I mean, I cannot believe that North Korea is doing what they're doing, because they cannot win against America. They're a tiny little country which they could be just completely obliterated off the face of the earth. You know, it's like the smallest kid in the school going to the biggest kid in the school and punching him in the nuts and saying, "Come on then." No, you idiot. It's a bad idea. What's going on with the colour on this? So I don't know exactly how it's going to pan out, etc. But just keep an eye on the news. You might find out before you want to. Charlotte Alice, what first got you interested in bikes, and how old were you? I was about 12. Well, no, I was interested in bikes before then, because I was one of those kids that a bike went past and you were like, yeah! Whereas in kids nowadays, a bike goes past and they're like, oh, it's loud, mummy, I want to go home. Fucking snowflakes. So yeah, I mean, I got interested when I was young. I started riding bikes on and off when I was about 12, with like my brother and mates and stuff on fields, like crossers and stuff. But when I actually got my first bike of my own on the road, I was like 22. That story is pretty well known. But yeah. Josh David, Q&A, what is your favourite helmet you've owned or still own, and why? What is my favourite helmet? Well, you should note that it's an Icon variant. My helmet history, hold on. Okay, here's my helmet history. So you know I've got a silver Icon variant at the moment. Before that I had the black Icon variant. Before that I had an AGV Stealth. Before that I had a Noland flip face, and before that I had that Takachi thing, which that's the thing that nearly killed me when I crashed in it. So basically an Icon variant, but there's reasons for that. It's because I'm a vlogger and it's got really good audio space and stuff in it. I wouldn't mind actually for DIVI getting a standard helmet, and I very nearly did it recently. I nearly worked out a deal for one. Not from Icon. I spoke to Bell actually, and I was going to get one, and I was like, and then I didn't, because all my merch and my whole channel identity has been with an Icon, and it's just like, I need to keep it, really. I don't know if that was a good call or a bad call, but I think it became so much of a recognisable thing, and I just brought new merch out at the time, and it felt like a really... In the future, I think like I can probably do it when I can update the merch. But it's just been such a mainstay of my channel for this long. And I know a lot of people are like, oh, you know, all vloggers use Icon variants. I've been using an Icon variant for a very, very, very long time. I think the only people that used the Icon variant when I started using it was Chase and Two Wheels and Kalani. So there may have been one or two others, but basically it wasn't the common helmet that it is now. And then Downshift. I think Downshift was using one back then as well. Sirico, what's your go-to clip that always makes you laugh? The cat with the, just search cat flower on head, because it looks like that cat, and I don't know why, it's just, it always makes me laugh. It's just the look. Ali G 217, how much will the custom clocks be, and how long will I take to do them? If you mean the ones where I do your sprockets for you, I don't know. I'm not offering that a service at the moment. At the moment I'm just making my own stuff. I will offer that service in the future. When will more clocks be available in general? Because I know that obviously I've only had the first 4 graph and I've had nothing go up since. It's because I like to get a few pieces together and finished. and then put them up in a batch, so you have some more expensive stuff, some cheaper stuff. So there's a range of things for people to look at, not just one thing that's more expensive, because I do know the Sculptor and that other clock, obviously they're going to be more expensive than just a standard clock, so I'm working on other bits at the moment to give you a range of stuff when I put it on the store. And to anyone who's sent me anything, thank you very much. I've got sprockets and stuff currently sat in degreaser that I'm cleaning up that people have sent me. This morning I got this, which was a DID chain from someone that came from their Grom for you to dick about with. Thank you. I do think that will come in useful, and it looks brand new, dude. Are you sure you've used it? But it's nice and golden. It's cool. So thank you for that. Yeah, I hope that answers the question. The custom bespoke ones, don't know when I'm going to start that yet. So just keep holding your sprockets. It will come in the next couple of months probably. But I just want to get more things out and just find myself a bit more before I start taking on other people's stuff. Peak Rider, question: what are your thoughts on the banning of combustion engines? What do you think this will mean for the future of motorcycling? That is a very good question, and I actually almost feel like I should leave that to its own video, although there isn't much to say other than the fact that electric motorcycles have come so far and have so much to offer. You know, the power delivery from nowhere. You know, electric motorcycles off the line will be faster than any petrol bike. Just cannot be beaten. I mean, okay, you could, you know, if you said, oh, it's got a much bigger petrol engine, this has only got like a little tiny electric motor, but if you actually got the best electric bike versus the best petrol bike, the electric bike is going to beat it hands down. But obviously then you get the problem with range and stuff. I think 23 years is a long time to get things developed, and don't forget that there's now 23 years of bike development coming. That means that at the point that they can no longer make them, that they're going to be really good, and also that there's going to be the past 23 years of petrol bikes around, which we will still be able to use. You know, it doesn't mean that on that date that I'm not saying that the person who asked this question thinks this, but I've heard people sort of seem to think this. It doesn't mean on the date that they don't make them anymore that your petrol car or bike becomes illegal. It just means they don't make any more after that, and then obviously over time as those vehicles degrade, the petrol vehicles are going to diminish on the road more and more. This will also mean that if you own, like, you know, classic bikes and classic cars, the prices are just going to start doing that. So this is the time that people want to be going out there and buying old classics and storing them for the next 25 years. If you've got, you know, if you're a millionaire right now, a way to make money is to go and buy some modern classics, nice ones, get them done right, get them in the right place, and then just leave them there for 23 years because the price is just going to go like crazy. Do I think it's a bad thing? I don't like the idea of bikes being silent. It's a bad idea, and it doesn't matter what you do to an electric bike to make it make noise, it is never going to make the same level of noise that a bike does, and that's so much of the importance of our safety being heard. You know, loud pipes save lives. I fully believe in that. Loud pipes also piss people off, but they also save lives. I think it's a necessary evil, if it were. Plus also, oh my god, have you heard some bikes? DIVI for one. I'm going to do 2 more questions. The newest question I haven't answered, which would be... Okay, the newest question that I haven't answered comes from Ash Vlogs 1994. What's the best way to wash Textile bike kit? Not a clue, mate. Never had it. I guess the washing instructions inside. As someone said here, machine wash and put a waterproof spray on afterwards. Honestly, the best way. There you go. Sounds like a guy that knows. If I don't know something, I won't give you an answer and bullshit it. I could probably guess that much, but I don't know. Okay, so now I'm going to answer the first question that I haven't answered, and that would come from William Rain, and I know that note. Are you okay with one guy buying 3 of the 5 clocks? Who would that guy be? It would be you, wouldn't it? Bill, as I'm going to call you. Hey, Bill, I have no problem with someone buying 3 of the 5 clocks. As long as they sell, that's fine. Honestly, I'll say this to you now, I honestly thought you were going to shove them on eBay. I thought you saw yourself making a bit of money and you were like, I'm going to buy these and I'm going to put them on eBay. And then you said that you were going to put like one in your office and one at work and one in the garage. I was so happy when I found out that. If someone wants to buy my clock and eBay it, fine. But let me know the price that it went for. That's the only thing I'll say. But yeah, otherwise, as long as they sell, that's all that matters to me. As long as they go, and as long as they're used and they're loved and they, you know, appreciated, that's all that I really care about. I hope this isn't too long. I'm thinking it's probably a shorter one than the usual ones. Thank you for anyone who's sending me bits and pieces like this. Don't forget that the PO Box is PO Box 170 Hayling Island, PO11 1RG. And you can send me any old bike bits and stuff that you have. I really appreciate that. So there we go. Q&A done. I did feel a little bit better that one. It didn't have any of the bullshitty questions that I normally get, or any of the repetitive ones. It was nice to answer some new stuff, and I would like to do this live actually. You know, it would remove all the editing, so I might do some live Q&As in the future. But the problem I have is people in the house making noise constantly, and I'm expecting someone to just walk up to my door and scream my name out. You know, Colin!